Well, this is really special for me, dude. Sitting here with you at Dirt World 2. You were my first like public podcast where I sat down in front of people.
Yeah.
You know, we were here a year ago.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you asked me, and I was like, absolutely, because I was just like, this is like teeing up a deer in the headlights.
Oh yes,
and
you're
let's
so
go for
cool.
it. Yeah, I was like, I like this guy a lot.
Yeah.
It's time to catch. I'm gonna catch him quick. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Oh yeah. I did not feel that way. It was not fantastic. Would not be the word that I used.
You're very polished now, though. I think you get into a natural cadence and a natural rhythm. It's like anything else. The more reps you put in, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying your guys' content as of late as well.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do. I saw that you had a really cool podcast with this guy. What was his name? Joshua Malott. It was on Blacktop Banter.
Yeah, yeah. If you go there, it's like another one. You know how there's 5-star reviews. Like, you get to the one where it's the one.
Yeah.
There's one with 1 star.
I'm just glad that I got 1 star, and I'd probably put that there. So.
Yeah. I don't think you can do 0 if you leave a review. We had another great conversation. I think we had a great conversation at Dirt World last year. We had a great conversation on Blacktop Banter. And I think they're necessary conversations. I mean, that first one probably wasn't. There was a lot of unnecessary stuff said in our first one, but it was fantastic for people to see our camaraderie, our banter, these conversations that build friendships, essentially. In our industry.
I think that that's the one thing that I didn't realize. You know, my team really forced me to do that. Matter of fact, it felt
forced.
Oh, it was forced. It was. Curran was there with us last year, and he's like, man, you have to do this. And I looked at him straight in the eyes, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. And I just met you, and he's like, you need to text him and say, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do that. And now I thought you were being nice, but I realized that you're like, oh, I can screw with this guy. This will be awesome. So
you know this. You're in the industry. It's the way.
It's the way.
Yeah,
it's the way. We're not the Mandalorian.
When you bring somebody close, that's the way.
Well, I think, in all honesty, one of the things that I appreciated the most about you, just even last year and even watching you over this year, is your desire and willingness to be open for people.
For sure.
Like, you are approachable. Even seeing you walk around here, it's like, there's not anyone that comes up to you and wants to talk to you that you're going to be like, dude, I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
I've never seen you do that. And, I'm a nobody, and I come up to you and I'm like, hey, can we do this? I think when I first came up to you, I was standing outside and you were walking out, and you were like intense. You were on the move.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I really like your stuff. And then it sparked that conversation, and that was, I just really appreciate the way that you didn't make me feel small.
Yeah.
For
sure.
And that was good.
Yeah. Well, I think, and I just think we're all nobodies, to be honest with you.
I would agree.
You get to a certain point. I'm not getting old. I'm not going to admit that, but I'm getting older for sure. And you go through these transitions. I'm in my 30s. You go through this transition during these years, to where you think the world's about something, and then when you get to the backside of your 30s, you realize what it's really about. And to be honest with you, the only thing what I've come to lately is the only thing we're going to leave here, Josh, is our skull, as Chad Wright said, right? And he's like, that's the only thing you're going to leave here. And trust me, I'm never going to disagree with Chad to his face. Right? I've been fortunate enough to meet the guy a couple times and have some conversations. But the other thing we leave are the impressions that we make, right? So for me, it's very important to know that that's honestly my legacy. 3 or 4 generations away, all the money I've made in the asphalt industry, all these conversations or whatever are going to be forgotten, but the impact on people that changes their character or has an impact on their character, I think lives on through the generations. I might be this way because of the way somebody treated my grandfather's grandfather.
Right.
So it's important for me to think that way. And I think it's important for our industry to be portrayed the way that you just described me the first time you met me. Approachable. Yeah, absolutely. Honest, and we take the time.
Yeah. I agree. I might have seemed distracted. I was looking for a quote while you were talking there, because you mentioned how you're going to disagree with Chad Wright. And so I just want to we're going to tag him in this, and I want to. Marvin Joles is disagreeing with Chad Wright.
Yeah.
Blacktop Banter.
I agree,
Yeah.
but I have an add-on.
Oh, I see. I see how you change it.
Listen, yeah, I don't want to be a skull that soon.
My whole team is sitting at the table, and who's his name? Jamie, I think it was.
Jesse Itzler?
Jesse.
Yeah.
Jesse. He put up a picture of Chad Wright.
Yeah.
And my whole team, like literally everybody's going around the table and they're like, I think I saw that guy under the bridge. Like, that guy looks scary.
Dude, he's scary. He's a scary looking dude.
Yeah. So
one of the kindest people you ever meet.
I can see that.
I
can see that.
Yeah, very, very grateful.
Yeah.
Right? And he knows as well as I do, we don't have much. No matter how much you have, you don't know. Everybody kind of has the same amount.
Yeah.
Yourself, your word, your integrity, your impressions you leave on people, all these high characteristic words that people throw around. I don't throw them around a whole lot because I really want to understand them, and I really think that when you do understand them and you acquire them or you seek to acquire them, there has to be a certain amount of respect, which is another big word, that goes with using it and tossing it around. And people say you got to have integrity. Dude, you know what it takes to have integrity? It's a lot, man. It's a lot. So it's like, I'm not just going to throw that word around, and I'm not going to, I don't want to put that, I'm not going to gift somebody that compliment unless I really understand that that's what they have.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think about Dirt World Summit? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to flip. Here we go.
There you go.
We did it last time, right?
We did it. That's really cute that you say we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were driving and controlling. Well, I want to throw an add-on with you with Chad Wright.
Okay.
And just say, I think that you're absolutely right. I think, he said we leave our skull.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that when we are intentional about legacy, and if we know what the definition of legacy is the impact that you've had on others and what they do with it after you're dead. Mm-hmm. That's really, truly what it is.
And you're not going to be here to see it.
Right. Yeah.
But your son is.
Yeah.
I mean, your son obviously has great taste. He wears Blacktop Banter clothes, right? But I have a son as well. And the things I say now, I tell Eli this a lot, man. And I hate to scare him with it, but it's a thought that I want to make sure he understands, which I think he does, is in 5 minutes, you and I could walk out here and I get hit by a bus. Yeah. Right. So what am I going to say, I'll get to teaching my son about integrity and respect and being humble later? That's the most ridiculous thing to say, dude. That's like saying I'm going to donate to charity or I'm going to donate to a great cause when my ship comes in.
Yeah.
What if I get hit by a bus? And I never did do it. And why do you give? Well, you give to feel good and make a difference. It's the same thing as the information that we give and the conversations we have. So
I agree.
For me, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. It's that legacy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just took what you said and rewrapped it and threw it out there. But
people do that.
Yeah,
that's okay. Yeah.
So you asked me, what do I think of Dirt World Summit?
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, this year.
Because we everybody's joking about it now, and Buildwitt team jokes about it. We called it the dungeon. Right?
Yeah.
We were in the dungeon last year over in Houston. Yeah, in the basement next to Grandma's bake sale cookies or whatever we were doing down there. But I want to know what you think because I'll preface it with let's use a nice word. It was intimate last year.
Wow, that is impressive. Wow.
Did I use three-syllable word?
Yeah. Well, whatever. Asphalt. But last year was intimate. I loved that. That was one of my favorite parts about last year.
Yeah.
And I think Buildwitt has been very intentional about not trying to lose that.
Yeah.
There's a little over 1,000 people here now. And the other thing is, I had listened to our podcast that you and I did, and I couldn't believe one of the things that we always say we want to do is we want to be real and authentic. And so I asked you about the summit last year, and you were honest.
Yeah.
And I listened to it, and I'm like, do we want to put this out there? Because he said, he goes, here's where they could do better.
Yeah.
And I love that about you. I appreciate that about you. And the reality is they wouldn't disagree with what you said.
Mm-mm.
And I think that's one of my favorite things about this year is it's year 2. Getting to see, it's like they're literally practicing what they preach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they're like, listen, learn, all this stuff. And they're in Houston and they're like, okay, so we need a different venue.
Yeah.
And just to rewind a little bit, if I remember correctly, they decided in like January or February.
Yeah, they built the plane as they were flying it.
Yeah, yeah, which is probably not the way to do events, and they would probably tell you that. But yeah, this year it's been really cool to see the things that they changed.
Yep.
And seeing that intentionality about why they changed them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm fortunate enough to spend or have now spend more time at the Buildwitt office in Nashville, and their core values are on the wall, and I take a look at them fairly often. We have core values at our asphalt company in Wisconsin, and I like seeing people's core values. I don't know. Sometimes I think, man, that's a crock. Sometimes when I see people's core values, and sometimes when I see the company and I know the company, and then I see their core values, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. We were fortunate to see Sal for Sella talk, right?
Yeah.
I've been to First Forum, was immersed with those guys, with Andy and Sal. Thinking about this conversation right now in a moment of reflection, I live a pretty cool life.
Yeah.
Being able to be with them and talk with them and sit down with them, share meals with them, with Sal and the entire First Forum team. Austin Davis, who's here representing First Forum, has become a friend of mine, and Will Grumke as well. That culture is the epitome of their core values. And when I go to Buildwitt and spend time there, to circle back finally, their core values are on their wall. And transparency is one of their core values. And literally what you were just talking about with them saying, yeah, we could have improved here. They live that way. They want you to know, hey, we're building this as we go. Aaron spoke last year at Summit, and he's like, we need money. Yeah. Like on stage, he's like, we need money. Like, give us money. We need it to build this and do this thing. Here we are a year later. People came. Yeah. They spent money.
Yeah.
They are getting, in my opinion, they're getting what they paid for sure this time.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
And they kept the things that made it intimate last year and made it feel different. They kept those in place and really focused on those, polished everything up, put us in a great venue with some great partners and vendors here for us to walk out and see some amazing speakers, and had some great pre-con classes. I think they're on the precipice.
Yeah.
You see that?
You are like full of
I learned this thing called
words.
reading. I've learned this thing called reading. You go from left to right, top to bottom, and I just kind of keep it in there. They're on the precipice of really fine-tuning this event to where it's the premier event, in my opinion, in the dirt world and the construction world.
I would agree with that, because that's the one thing that I wish that I could communicate to people is it's not like, I don't even want to call it a conference.
Yeah.
It's not
an
like
expo.
It's not like anything else out there.
No.
It is truly a one of a kind, in my opinion, based on what I see. Now, maybe that's because I'm an electrician and I go to expos and conferences, and they're all about the technical side. And this is like, they have, their exhibit hall is right there with us as we walk through it every time. I thought that was genius.
We're eating meals together.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
We have fellowship with each other, the vendors, the contractors, the speakers.
Yeah.
Right? When Chad went to go speak, like, he was listening to Jesse, and he was standing back by me, and he's like, hey, man, I'm going to go up here to this table real quick and kind of get a closer look and sit down for a minute. I've been standing. And he was in a blue suit, right?
Yeah.
Had his hat on, and it was in a blue suit, which I thought was like, okay, we're doing this. But he sat down in a chair next to a guy, and the guy turns around, and he's like, you've seen the guy's eye. He did a double take, and he's like, holy crap, man, that's Chad Wright right here.
Yeah.
And Chad, was just like, pat him on the shoulder and pointed up at the screen, sat there and looked. I mean, you seen it on the 210, John Deere 210s with the buckets up. There's a sign that says, we go forward together, right?
Yeah.
And then it says together on the street. You really feel together here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like they're putting, we're together everywhere and it's this fake thing. We eat together. We're sitting together. We're having fellowship together. We're spending time after the show together and developing real relationships that create friendships that improve your life, right? Like you and I were both fortunate to spend some time with Herb Sargent a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
You have Herb's number.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
You have Herb's cell phone number.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, if there is anything that is in his realm that I run into a problem, who else do you want to call?
I think that's the thing that you're touching on that is absolutely amazing, and it's how they keep that closeness and that nearness.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's so amazing, the proximity that the summit gives you to other people that are in your industry. And because the people that are a part of it are real, like yourself, that, what we started talking about being approachable.
Yeah.
Herb approached us.
Yeah.
Like, he not only is approachable, but he's like, hey, before you leave, I want to connect.
Yeah.
And it was just to be like, hey, I'm Herb.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. That's who these people are.
And that's the same thing we say to Herb. Like, when he gets done speaking, you go up and you're like, hey, Herb, we really appreciate what you're doing for our industry.
Yeah.
He comes up to you here, knowing we have your podcast, and I have my podcast. He looks at you. He's like, hey, I appreciate what you're doing for our industry.
Yeah.
And we're, like I said, we're all nobodies.
We are.
But together, you kind of feel like, oh, here, I'm part of something. I'm somebody. But we're all humble enough to know, like, we're nobodies.
Yeah.
You know? I think the intent of Buildwitt and what they've done with the Ariat Dirt World Summit is going to stay the same. I'm fortunate enough to speak with Aaron from time to time. And last night we had a conversation when we were looking out over the dinner before the auction. And shout out to the guys that bought a couple rollers last night from Dynapack. Remember when Dynapack came through in the first episode and I was like,
yeah,
hey, Dynapack.
I do.
I had to. Right?
Yeah.
Dude, they always step up. Everybody is stepping up. But anyways, I was standing with Aaron. We look out and I looked over at him. I'm like, dude, what is this? And he's like, I know, man. He's like, we can't lose this.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sure there's a number there that they want to stick to for attendees. How do you do that? You increase what it costs to get here, probably.
Yeah.
And keep the value high.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so many butts in the seat. If we do this, we're going to lose this, and it turns into something that already exists.
Yeah.
Where right now, I go to a lot of conferences. You and I went to multiple different conferences together now, right? And nothing feels like this one.
Yeah.
Right. So, I have an appreciation this year compared to last year.
So last year, Aaron had his, this year he opened, last year he closed.
Yep.
And he's like, what's your one thing?
Mm-hmm.
And so my question for you, what's your one thing from this year that you want to continue to see? And what is let me rephrase that.
Okay.
Not only just your one thing about Dirt World, but what's your one thing that you're taking away from this summit that's going to impact you for the rest of the year?
Man, I'm going to reflect on this a few days later and wish I said something else probably. I think that for me, I do a lot of self-reflection. You know that,
yeah.
Right? I think it keeps me who I'm supposed to be during this short amount of time God's given me to be here. I think realizing that if you go to Herb wants to talk to us and talk to you about what we can do to improve the industry, right? And improve each other, bring people in. He wants to hear people speak, whatever. That's Herb Sargent. If you talk to Sal wants to continue to be a good father. He reads still, right?
Yeah.
He does all these things. Chad still works out. Jesse's still building businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, how many businesses do you need to sell for millions and billions? He's improving. We are always improving. That's my one thing is I have to realize there's no finish line.
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I made a post here a while back. One thing I can guarantee you, if somebody was on stage and they said, who's going through something right now? A hand would go up. And they would say, who has went through something?
Yeah.
A hand would go up. And who anticipates that they're going to go through something?
Yeah.
Another hand would go up. We're all going to encounter stuff. We're always needing to do the reps to improve a little bit. Randy Blunt was talking about training a little every day.
Yeah.
You also need to be improving. I think that's the one thing is that we have to realize we're always continuously going to be a work in progress. There is no finish line.
Yeah.
Right? So we just need to stay persistent, invest in ourselves, stay consistent. My big thing is I just do not compromise on the things that I know make me. And those are those things that you pointed out earlier where I take the time and stop.
Yeah.
What's more important than having a conversation where somebody is like, this is a good human being that I can rely on, that I know I can have a good conversation with, I can trust him, right? We're always making those improvements. At Dirt World this year, they talked a lot about mental health. They talked about how to help each other out, right, in our workplaces, how to instill things to help each other out and stop chasing all this stuff that the world tells us is so serious.
Yeah.
It's not that serious. Stop taking it so serious. I'm
Yeah.
not going to have as much money as Elon Musk. I'm not going to build a business like Herb Sargent. If I try to do that and chase that and make that my priority, and that's not who I am as a person, this is going to be a miserable life, man.
Yeah.
So step back. Stop taking everything so serious, Marvin. Remember who you are. You're going to change. Figure that out along the journey. Surround yourself with good people, as Sal was talking about. Will surrounds himself with great people.
Yeah.
Do that. That's my thing. We always are going to be improving. Nothing is going to be perfect.
That's really good, dude.
You asked me when we first did
It's
it.
like you've been listening this week.
Yeah, barely. I have much of a choice, man. When we first spoke, you were like, and Karen was like, Marvin's got a great podcast, all this stuff, this, whatever. I've watched a lot of people start podcasts, have me around them, and their podcasts, in my opinion, end up better than Blacktop Banter. They build media companies better than Blacktop Banter. That stuff gets me hyped. I don't aim to have the best one, but I really enjoy being part of other people's journeys when they have aspirations to improve themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And understand that we're always going to be improving.
Yeah. That's a good one thing, to always be improving. I think that's why I joke about you're listening, because I've been hearing that. Everything that you've said here in our conversation, together, listening, improving, all of that stuff is stuff that's been talked about.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I value this so much. That's why I value what Buildwitt is doing here and their investment in training. Over the past year, I've gotten to know Randy, I've gotten to know Jason and Aaron a little bit more. And I love the authenticity and the realness. Like, they're not full of it. They're not blowing smoke. Like, they really believe what they say they believe. And to the point that it's like, okay, I get it. Like, I get it. You are real. Okay.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation, and I can't remember. Forgive me. I can't remember if it was Jason, Randy, or Aaron, but the conversation we started to talk about trust.
Yeah.
And the importance of trust. And we were able to both say, well, I trust you in that.
Yeah.
And they were very gracious to say it to me first. But it was so true when I was able to say that back. It's like, yeah, I trust you. And the reason that I trust them is they do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah, they're authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those are three clearly different human beings. Right. The values and things they do, and the things that are non-negotiables in their life.
They would say that they're three very different
people, right?
Yeah.
And their personalities are very different.
Yeah.
You're going to get a little more grace with one than the other. You're going to get a little more creativity. You're going to get a little more firmness with all of them. Jason has become a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I text that guy almost every day.
Yeah.
We talk quite a bit. He is not, if he lets you down, he lets himself down.
Yeah.
Right. He's not going to let you down or not make it right or not be understanding. And I know that. When I get him, I know that. And that is what I want in my life. I don't want to be told, you can do it.
Yeah.
I want to be like, dude, this is going to be tough. You can, it's possible. Let's strategically figure out if we can make this happen and how we can make this happen. Yeah. Versus you can do it. Yeah. You come here and you're going to build whatever, do whatever, get whatever. They don't do that, dude. They're literally, Randy's like, here's the roadmap. It's complicated as crap. These are the points we have to hit. Yeah. And you need the right person in the right seat right now and get it going. Where Jason's like, let's give us some time. Let's give us some grace. Let's see what happens. You got to trust me that I think this is right. If not, we'll make it right or whatever. And you'll get where Aaron's like, I have no idea. That is not in that's not even in my field of vision. That's somebody else's responsibility. My responsibility to you is to do this. Yeah. Right. And if you need this, I can help you with that. Yeah. I think the authenticity that we all have for each other and that overall atmosphere and vibe that we're giving each other is necessary in order for us to have a real community. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the things that they're building is community. For sure. Yeah, and, they have events. Last year they did events multiple times throughout the year. Mm-hmm. And
I think that's an important thing. Our industry is a remote workforce.
For sure.
It's been a remote workforce. We go out to the job, the office and the field are not connected.
Yep.
And I mean, in the heavy civil world, it's even more disconnected because you're in a machine, you're in a loader, you're in a truck.
True.
But it's about getting that connection because we need to do it together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty essential.
I do too. I think without that being a selling point, right, for Dirt World Summit, you can't really put that on paper.
No, you can't.
Right. Wally, Adamczyk, who's become a good friend of mine as well, he commented on my post that I made yesterday about, I did a post like what the show floor looks like. And it was up like 30,000 views or something on Facebook already, which is fun for me to still know that I still can do that from time to time, right? But Wally commented, and he's like, it's still not the same as being here. And he's 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
He could have put great video, Marv,
Yeah.
right? So, or some BS. Wally's not that guy. Why? Because none of us are.
Right.
So he knows
Right.
that, like,
Yeah.
he could have been standing next to me and said that, and how I would appreciate that comment. But it is you can't put it on paper.
Yeah.
Right. That what you're building here. Jason doesn't call and say, "Well, you want to hear a Jason impression?"
I do. And we're recording, so this would be great.
Yeah. So he doesn't call and he's like, "Hey, man, we're going to have this speaker. I love it. We're going to have this one and that one." He doesn't say, for the low price of $4.99, you're going to get community, man. He doesn't do that, dude. We just know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if anything, I would say, hey, if you're looking for a place to belong, right? If you're remote, you're feeling alone in certain areas.
Yeah.
Come and make some friends.
Absolutely.
Say hey, because there is nobody here. I can promise you, there's nobody here that if you walk up and say, "Where are you from? What do you do?" They're gonna be like, "That's none of your business."
Yeah.
Right. That's not gonna happen. They're gonna be like, "Hi, I'm from here. Where are you from?"
Yeah.
Right? What do you do? We're curious. Make it happen.
I think that's the thing that's been so fascinating to me about the networking and the connection with people. And networking is a term that I hate because it makes it seem like it's this agenda-driven thing that you're doing behind the scenes. And I don't know how else to describe it because I'll just put it to you this way. I was sitting at lunch or at a table and someone sat down next to me and we started talking and it turned into something that was real.
Yeah.
And it's like, that I can do. Mm-hmm. I can't go to an event and, go around the circuit, with drinks and appetizers and whatever and be like, this is what we do, Well, can we please edit that out?
No, keep that in.
Yeah.
We're having community.
Yeah.
What we're doing? We're not networking. We're spending time with each other.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Josh, but I enjoy when you and I spend time together. And we want to get intimate. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I enjoy when you and I spend time together. I enjoy meeting new members of your team. I enjoy hearing about what you're doing. I enjoy seeing your son and you asking about my son, right?
Yeah.
We keep up with each other. If I go to the movies and see somebody randomly, I don't do that. If I go to the mall, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Right? And I see a lot of people, same way I see people here. And it's not an agenda here to do that. You just do that by creating community and spending time with people. You want to be with real people and have real conversations. You know why?
Yeah.
Because it makes you feel like a real human.
Yeah.
And not a hamster in a wheel.
Yeah.
Right? We only have a short amount of time here.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor and don't compromise on what you spend this commodity of time on.
Yeah.
Right? Be intentional about it. Take some time for yourself every day. Learn real, tangible things exist and go get them with your time.
Absolutely.
In your mind, in your heart.
I totally agree. I honestly couldn't have said it better. I think that, that intentionality of going after that stuff, that intentionality about growing, learning, being willing to do that, and being aware of having other people around you to be able to pull it off.
It makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
There's very few things in this world when you get, like I said, I'm not old, but I at least have a cognitive ability to understand that I'm getting older and my mind is starting to think different about the world around me.
Yeah.
Live. Don't get caught up in trying to make a living. Go out and live. How about try to live? How about do that, man? And you know what? You're going to enjoy your life more, and the people that are in your life are going to enjoy your life more.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about you know somebody and you enjoy their life? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So, all right, last question.
Okay.
What can they do better? Since I asked you last year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
The food was good.
That's what you said last time.
They checked that box again.
Yeah.
So I'll take that. What can they do better? You know, sometimes we are the victims of our circumstance. We're the victims of things that are out of our control. And I think sometimes people get bent out of shape about things they can't control. They point fingers and shift blame and get upset, which rightfully so. We're emotional creatures in this world.
Yeah.
I think Nikki will kill me for saying this because this is her wheelhouse.
I love this.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to be with Nikki. Right, the last 7 months, our relationship, the entirety of our relationship, has been as she's been the event planner manager for Dirt World Summit for Buildwitt. There are a lot of intricate parts that go into pulling this thing off.
Yeah.
And there's some times where like she shows me a layout or whatever, and you know me, I'm honest, and I play devil's advocate and point stuff out quite a bit, and I'm like, hey, there might be like a sound issue with the expo hall next to the stage, right? With people, because I think of everybody. The vendors. I've been in a vendor's position.
Yeah.
I've been on stage speaking, right? I've been in the attendees part, sitting my butt in the seat. I've been a customer that wants to go talk to the vendors, right? That are at the expo hall. Nikki will kill me, man. I love you, babes. I'm so sorry. There's certain things that we don't think about until we're there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know they work really hard and plan very, very hard. If there's anything, it would be those kind of details to maybe look at a little bit more. But to be honest with you, I'm really grasping when I say these things.
I love that. And
I
the
thought
reason
it was
that you're
great.
grasping is because they're constantly learning.
Yeah.
They're constantly
They have
learning.
a fantastic team, Josh.
This is their second event.
Yeah.
Well, so to that point, I want to talk about their team because they do have a fantastic team.
It's the core values.
It is.
It's the culture.
The core values attracts people that align with those values. And
I hear the team members say it when things are going on. They'll recite the core value. Any team member at any level in any department, when we're together and something's going on, whether they say it jokingly, right? Like, hey, like they have one at Buildwitt that is the stagehand, not the stars.
Yeah, I
where,
love
like
that.
Everybody does a part. Sal's talking
that.
about that. Like, we're going to wipe down the toilet seats. We're going to pick up the piece of trash. We see it, whatever. Like, that's the core value, essentially. Same
After
one.
he talked, I was really nervous going to the bathroom. Like, I made sure my stall was all clean.
Dude,
so
at first form, I just hold it. I just hold it, dude. At first form. I don't even want to risk it, right? Yeah. But they have one that's, and you know what, dude? Me being around Buildwitt, I find myself taking part in their core values, and honestly, it is making me a better person.
Come on,
right? By proximity.
I would say that's their intention. They want to make people better.
Yeah,
they really want to invest in people.
They do.
So when we got here, and this is just a shout out to their team because I think that the people when they're putting on an event, if they're doing their job, you don't notice them, and they are definitely doing their job. My son and I came. And I'm registering, and there was an issue, and so we got sent down the line to talk with someone else. Mm-hmm. And she was there, and just the kindness with which she handled it, and each team member, even the team member that took us down to the other team member, the way like they were like, "We got this. We're taking care of this. Not a big deal." Didn't make me feel little. Didn't make me feel bad. No. They were just highly supportive. I'm walking into the event the other day and they're like, "Hey, what do you think? You know, how you doing?" And it's like they truly care about what they're doing, and that's impressive.
Yeah. They will do anything to make it right.
Yeah.
And to make sure that your experience starts out, goes through the duration, and ends in an amazing way. And no matter the cost, they're going to make sure that happens, because not only is Buildwitt's reputation on the line, but their core values, what they live by, those are on the line as well. And the impact they're having on our industry that they want, that we all want to have together, community, transparent, honest, is on the line as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Marvin, thank you for stepping up to the line and having a real and honest conversation with me.
Yeah, I don't know any other way,
it.
buddy. Absolutely. We're going to do this. Are we doing this next year?
Oh, sure, man.
Okay. So
I'm all for it.
Part 3.
Part 3.
Okay,
That works.
sounds good, man.
All right.
Thanks.